media buying is a 24/7 job. It does not clock out, it does not turn off, it does not take holidays. And in a world where online tracking is constantly changing, constantly shifting, where new platforms are rising and others are going down the drain, how can you as an advertiser navigate this space and then know that you are equipped with the best talent, the best insights, and the best training to be able to overcome any challenge that comes your way? With new gurus coming out every day, new courses to buy, and new PDFs all claiming the hacks and the tricks that they've used to overcome these obstacles, how do you know that they're correct or incorrect? My name's Ashton Shanks. I'm the CEO of HemanX and Heman Media. We actively manage over $5 million a month, and here's our story of how we're crafting and pioneering the next generation of high performance and full stack marketers.
Apple has introduced a new privacy feature for iPhone despite protests from Facebook and the advertising industry.
Apple took a major swipe at the privacy practices of rivals Facebook and Google.
iOS 14.5 Adweek called this the adpocalypse.
One big theme in Apple's big software show this year, privacy.
Is this new iOS 14 update going to kill Facebook ads?
iOS 14 has disrupted the entire industry. It has been mitigating how we now reach customers, and it's not a messaging problem. It is purely an algorithmic issue now.
Brands were scrambling, clients were scrambling, we're scrambling to figure out what's going on, how we're going to solve this.
I think it's been a huge wake-up call. You cannot rely on any platform to operate the way you want. It just takes one decision for you to lose critical pieces of information that you depended on, right, to help you optimize your campaigns. What is to say that iOS 15 or 16 might not make that problem even worse?
iOS 14 ultimately came around at the worst time imaginable. I know for even us internally, we had clients that were booming in 2020 with the COVID outbreak and e-commerce as a whole. Everyone was winning. And even one of our clients had to hire 40 staff members and start 24/7 shifts just to keep up with the demand that was being created. And then all of a sudden, something like iOS 14 hits, and you're seeing these businesses that were counting on these strategies, these channels, to ultimately keep their doors and their lights on, and even pay their own bills, who are now starting to second guess all of that growth that happened the month and the year previous. I think I wasn't alone, that everyone was starting to count the cost of ultimately of what did online advertising mean? Would it be around, and would it be able to survive the changes that had just been placed in our hands?
Luckily, because of the vision that Ashton had and how he would structure his ad accounts in his mind, he had figured out that this specific way of running advertising, it's a hedge against any algorithm changes, platform changes, policy changes, because it was solely based on advertising principles. Because we knew exactly how ad accounts were being run and what levers were being pulled to generate the result on the back end, we knew we had something really, really unique. And it all stemmed from the training that he had created that we were using internally to train our media buyers. And as a result, you got HemanX.
One of the biggest elements why HemanX exists, why it's important, is that in a world where things online are constantly shifting, algorithms are shifting, platforms are shifting, new challenges are coming, and as someone who runs a business entirely dependent on the performance of my media buying teams, what I realized was that the gap between what a media buyer was and what a media buyer really needed to be, in my belief, to succeed in today's age was getting bigger. When it came to training media buyers, especially in the online agency space, was ultimately just showing them how to spend money. Most agencies out there make more money the more money their clients spend. And so what I found with these media buyers that I brought in was that they were terrible marketers, but they knew exactly how to spend the most money possible and what they believed to be the most efficient way. we needed to train the media buyer to not just know how the machine works, but also how do you turn when things don't go your way, or when they do go your way, how are you able to take that insight and ultimately scale faster and further than your competition. We needed someone who had high-performance decision-making skills and the ability to withstand the stress that comes on a day-to-day basis in media buying.
Up until this point, media buyers were seen as kind of like at the bottom of the totem pole. They weren't given the respect, even though they were the ones that were spending the money of a company. The person running your ads, it's one of the most valuable assets, even far more important than the salesperson you have, because without that person, without that media buyer, you don't have leads, you don't have product sales, you have nothing.
There's a saying that the mother of all invention is necessity, and for us, HumanX was that very thing. When we got started, it started growing really, really fast. Our problem at our agency, Human Media, was never really getting clients, it was actually hiring. If we truly wanted to build a high-performance team of marketers, full-stack advertisers that could be placed in any platform or any situation and ultimately come out on top, what would that program have to look like? If I really wanted to have media buyers that could produce advertisements, not just spend money on a platform, but write copy, understand creative, understand direct response marketing to produce the results I expected from my clients, I would have to build them. And so it took me about a year to put together all the content, but all of a sudden, I had a program that I would put my internal staff that when I hired them on, they would go through this program and I would quiz them after to make sure that I felt confident that when I looked at a client, they could know that their accounts were in good hands. After some time, I was seeing media buyers coming in that had never spent more than $15,000, but in about 3 months, we're spending close to $1 million a month for our clients. So one of the things we wanted to do was understand really what did we believe was the most common misconceptions about advertising with media buying. What were the 5 most common things that we saw holding people back from really getting the results that they wanted? And what we realized is that when we discovered these 5 myths, they actually became the pillars, the foundations of what we built our program on, so that our clients could start to see better results than they ever have possible simply by breaking down the lies or the misconceptions that they've been told. There are 5 common myths that we see when it comes to media buying in a modern day age. The first myth is the concept that you need a media buyer who is very data-driven, and then you would need another team member to be the creative side. The myth is that you always kind of need those 2 teams. You can't really find people that are in the middle, and those people, if you do, are always typically called unicorns. But I really believe that you actually just needed to train and build that person who can see both sides, because when you can have someone who can both see the data and be the creative aspect, you get a really powerful combination. But not only powerful, much, much faster, which in today's world where we're constantly shifting, that's what businesses really need. Another common myth that we see is in businesses, they think they need to be everywhere. They need to be advertising on every platform. But what we found is it actually depends more on the right strategy. It's less on what can you do, but it's about coming up with the right strategy. And unless you have the right media buyer, the right trained person in the seat that knows when to make an adaptation or when to go to a new platform, ultimately business owners and advertisers start to waste a lot of money simply because their strategist, the person driving the traffic, really doesn't know how to come up with a well-articulated strategy. The next big myth that we see when it comes to media buying in a modern day age right now is that iOS 14 killed ads, killed Facebook, killed Google, which is not true. I mean, even when we look back 60 years ago, 70 years ago, tracking attribution, online advertising, social media marketing didn't exist. But you still saw advertisers, marketers that were willing to step up and really study, and were having massive success. As time goes on, the online advertising space will always continue to adapt and change. It's not that the iOS or the data changes have hurt advertising in a sense of advertising is no longer effective. It's in fact just hurt the method, the modality that advertisers use, and it's called out those who are unwilling to really get creative, to adapt, to really study and research. And it's the ones who are willing to do that actually rise above the ones who are just counting on perfect tracking. Another massive myth that we see, and honestly one of the biggest mistakes I see most marketers, business owners, even media buyers are making, is that anytime they're not getting the result they want, they think it's all the ad's fault. And so immediately what they start doing is just going into this never-ending cycle of test the ad, waste money, test a new ad, waste more money, and they lack the ability to actually get what we call a 30,000-foot view on their marketing and in their business. When you have someone that can see all the pieces of the puzzle, they have the ability to make an objective decision. And in turn, this allows them to make much more efficient decisions, quicker decisions, and ultimately much more potent advertising because they're not spending all their time thinking that's just the ad. And the fifth and final myth that we really come across often is when media buyers or marketers, or even business owners, are trying to solve their marketing issues with media buying tactics. And ultimately this stems from how it was to run paid traffic. If you look back in 2019 or 2016, we called it the Wild West because the whole idea was how could I beat the algorithm or hack the algorithm? And what we've seen is the need and necessity to shift to a more methodical, systematic approach to advertising and marketing. And when you want to find success when it comes to Facebook ads or Google or TikTok, whatever platform you're on, it stems from your marketing effectiveness. I think it's really important that we acknowledge these 5 myths because these myths have allowed us to ultimately get that new perspective and point us in the right direction for creating better training when it comes to media buying. I want you to imagine a world where online advertising does not get easier. A world where tracking is never restored. A world where hundreds of thousands of competitors are popping up every day. And I want you to ask yourself the question, how is someone like you or your business prepared to handle these changes?
It's not that we're giving you the golden ticket that's going to solve the problem today. We're giving you the structures and the tools and the skills to understand where the target is moving and how to make sure that you can move with it.
We don't just train media buyers, we train world-class marketers. We can take any average media buyer that knows how to place ads, but turn them into a sophisticated marketer that can work as a standalone unit.
HumanX is a complete mind shift change. It's an experience. It's a program that you need to throw yourself into, and if you do, it's going to change the course of your business.
Our coaches are actual practitioners. They're not just coaching, but they're actually practicing their skill, their craft. So they're actively teaching what they're actively practicing.
You're putting in essentially this one-time investment for a set of skills that you'll be able to take with you for the rest of your life.
It's not just taking a course, clicking through buttons. You're learning live with our team.
We teach you how to go from being a media buyer to a sophisticated marketer. We teach you how to understand how to keep winning.
HumanX is so much more than a course or a program. HumanX is the commitment to a movement of marketers, of innovators who are committed to staying ahead of the game when it comes to online advertising and marketing. Here you have to ask yourself a question. Are you committed to staying ahead of the game? Are you committed to continuing to adapt and feed into this incredible world of advertising and marketing? It's not about hacks, it's not about tricks, but rather it's about understanding exactly how the slight shifts that you can change in your copy, in your ads, in your landing page can cause a dramatic result difference when it comes to your paid traffic. This is your chance to join the movement. This is your chance to see if HumanX is for you. We are the architects of direct response marketing, and this is your invitation to join us as we forge the next generation of high-performance marketers.